Well, thank you for joining us here today for the latest news where you live. I'm Joe Ellison. Let's get you caught up on what's going on around our area. Now, as we head into the weekend, you should know the entire state of Arkansas is under a high wildfire danger warning. Now, this is because of those dry conditions. All of 5 News Country is under a burn ban. A lack of rain and low humidity are to blame. As a result, any open outdoor burning of leaves and vegetation, along with those bonfires, are restricted at this time. According to the Fort Smith Fire Marshal's office, you can face up to a $500 fine if you're caught not following those rules. Now, the ban does not prevent you, though, from grilling outside or some small fire pits. Now, we really need some of that rain, right? Unfortunately, that won't happen, at least not this weekend. Before we get to more news, let's get a check of that weather with meteorologist Stephen Abshire. Hey, Stephen.
Hey, Joe, and yeah, you're right. We're not going to get any of that rain moving through this weekend, and we really need it. Those burn bans are definitely going to be sticking in place at least until the middle half of next week because we don't have anything coming up here in the next few days. Taking a look at this weekend, though, it's going to be beautiful textbook fall-like weather for this weekend. Those temperatures on Saturday are going to be in the 70s, and some areas might not even get out of the 60s for our high on Saturday, so very cool, but sunny and dry. It's going to be beautiful. And take a look at Sunday as well. Those temperatures are going to be a little bit warmer, but pretty much 70s widespread for a high across 5 country on Sunday. A little bit warmer, mostly sunny skies, and that wind is going to be fairly light. So a beautiful weekend is on tap for us here, but we do have some rain potentially as we move late into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And looking at futurecast, could have some showers, very scattered and light move through on Tuesday morning, but we have a cold front moving through on Wednesday, and that's when we could see some of the heavier rain that we desperately need begin to move through, and it'll move out sometime on Thursday morning. So we really need some of that rain. It might only get a little bit, but it could help some of those drought conditions as we move forward. But taking a look at the 7-day forecast, what to expect as we move through next week. This weekend's going to be really nice, sunny and dry, but as we get into the middle of next week, those temperatures back up in the 80s with a chance for some scattered showers at times before a cold front makes things a little bit cooler to end out the 7-day forecast. And in the River Valley as well, those temperatures are going to be beautiful for this weekend. It's going to be sunny, it's going to be dry in the 70s. You really can't ask for much more, but back into the 80s to start the work week and a chance for some showers as we get into the middle of the week. But that's the weather right now. Let's send it back over to Joe.
All right. Thanks so much, Stephen. Now we're taking a look at some of your other top stories. You might remember this video right here. You probably saw it on social media. You watched it on the news. Behind me, these are 3 local law enforcement officers violently arresting a man. Now 2 of them, the 2 deputies with the Crawford County Sheriff's Department, have been fired and removed from their positions. Now, you'll remember an investigation into their actions in this video came under scrutiny about a month ago when the video surfaced on social media. The deputies that were fired, take a look right here on your screen, Deputy Levi White and Corporal Zach King. They've been on administrative leave since the end of August after video of this arrest sparked a nationwide conversation. Now, Adam Rose, the attorney for the man who was arrested, you saw there, Randall Worcester, calls the actions by the Crawford County Sheriff to fire Deputy Levi White and Corporal Zach King in the last week or so, quote, true justice. 5 News reporter Rachel Williams has more.
A bystander captured this cell phone video outside a Mulberry gas station on August 21st. It shows Crawford County Deputy Levi White, Corporal Zach King, and Mulberry police officer Del Riddle holding down Randall Worcester, punching and kneeing him as they tried to arrest him. Worcester's legal team has filed a lawsuit against all 3 men and their employers. Attorney Adam Rose says he doesn't know yet if they'll be charged with anything.
I have not spoken directly to the FBI. However, I have heard through the grapevine that they are taking this very seriously, and that they are actually doing a thorough investigation of it. And that being said, I would not be surprised if charges are pressed on these officers. At this point, that would not be surprising.
The legal team says Thursday's news about the firings doesn't change anything, but it does add legitimacy to their complaint.
All of the parties so far have denied excessive force being used. However, given that they have now been let go, given that though, I think that gives a lot of weight. And I think this makes us feel more passionate about our suit.
Rose says his legal team is waiting on the 2 deputies who were fired to respond to their federal lawsuit, which he says was due on October 5th. Overall, the attorneys are glad justice will be served.
You know, I feel as though it's a step in the right direction. But it's definitely by no means the end. But I do think it's one step towards justice in this case.
That was 5 News reporter Rachel Williams. Now, 5 News asked the sheriff for a comment, but we haven't heard back just yet. We did confirm, though, with the Mulberry Police Department that Officer Thel Riddle is still employed and still on administrative leave. Worcester's legal team said they'll give the 2 deputies until the end of the week to respond to their lawsuit. We likely won't hear a decision from the special prosecutor handling this case about possible charges against the deputies for at least a month. And this investigation, another one in Crawford County into a deadly shooting, leaving a man dead in Kibler, continues. The victim, 76-year-old Jerry Wiley. They say his wife found him dead on Monday at their home on Sunny Slope Road. The wife called 911 when she came home and found him. That's according to investigators. They also claim no one is in custody for the shooting right now, and no persons of interest have been named. Well, now we're taking a look back at this past week at some top news stories you might have missed. First, a former Bentonville pastor pleaded not guilty to child sex abuse charges. Police arrested 32-year-old Keenan Horde in Fayetteville. He is charged with sexual indecency with a child. According to court documents, detectives recovered cell phone conversations from Horde's phone with potential victims. He pleaded not guilty to 8 counts of sexual assault, 3 counts of distributing, possession, and viewing matter depicting sexually explicit conduct involving a child, and sexual indecency with a child. Horde was originally being held on a $500,000 bond at the Benton County Jail. And this one making national headlines. 36 people were killed in Thailand in a gun and knife fight at a daycare center. Investigators say a former policeman killed his wife and child before turning his weapon on himself. There were 22 children among the victims of the suspected attacker. The suspect had been discharged from service last year, they say, for drug-related charges. Witnesses on scene say the suspect was also carrying a knife with him. And the CDC says about 3 million Americans have received a flu shot so far this season, but hoping for more people to roll up their sleeves in October. They're making a warning this week. They said it could be a very rough winter. Take a look.
This is for Brent.
Dr. Jeb Teichman rolled up his sleeve for his annual flu shot today. It's a vaccine he's passionate about after losing his 29-year-old son Brent to the flu 3 years ago.
And the irony here is that as a pediatrician, I was a tireless advocate for all vaccinations. But you know, when they're a young adult and they think they're invincible, you can't grab them by the hand anymore and drag them to get their flu shot.
Teichman joined other doctors and U.S. health experts for a national conference aimed at encouraging all Americans to get a flu vaccine. They expect it could be a highly infectious year if the U.S. is anything like Australia that just finished up its flu season.
They had the worst influenza season over the past 5 years.
In a recent national survey, only 49% of adults say they plan to get the flu vaccine. Health officials are also concerned that the percentage of pregnant people and children getting the flu vaccine has continued to trend downward.
The lowest flu vaccination coverage we have seen in children in the last 8 seasons.
And for the first time, health officials are recommending people 65 and older receive a high-dose flu vaccine or an adjuvanted flu vaccine. An adjuvant is added to a vaccine to create a stronger immune response.
This preferential recommendation was based on a review of the available studies, which suggested that in this age group, these vaccines are potentially more effective than standard dose unadjuvanted flu vaccines.
Health experts also suggest pair your flu vaccine with your COVID-19 booster for maximum protection against both respiratory illnesses this winter.
Now, to get details on any clinic scheduled where you live here at home by the Arkansas Department of Health, just text the word flu, F-L-U, to the number right there on your screen, 479-785-5000. We'll text you right back with a link where you can find out dates and locations. Well, the clock is ticking on another deadline, and this has to do with your ID. You've got 7 months until a real ID will be required to board a plane or enter a federal building. May 3rd is the day to mark on your calendar. A real ID was initially going to be required back in October of 2020, but that date was extended twice because of COVID-19. More than 520,000 Arkansans have a real ID, but 1.8 million Arkansans have a regular license or ID. You can get your real ID at any of the state's revenue offices. Well, if you're one of about 19 million people who asked the IRS for another 6 months to file their taxes in 2022, that deadline is fast approaching. This year, the tax extension deadline for filing your 2021 return is October 17th. Experts recommend filing as soon as possible in order to avoid last-minute pitfalls. They also recommend sending your return electronically, since the IRS has struggled with processing paper returns since the pandemic. Well, Tyson Foods is making a big announcement this week to move all their corporate jobs to the Springdale headquarters. It could bring in thousands of people to Northwest Arkansas. Well, here's more on how this move will change things for the area.
I would tell the people that will be moving here, don't be surprised when you realize how friendly Springdale and Northwest Arkansas is.
Around 1,000 Tyson corporate team members and their families will be relocating to work in Springdale from the Chicago, Downers Grove, and Dakota Dunes locations. And many say finding a home could be a problem.
Housing will be a challenge. It's a challenge today, irrespective of the 1,000 jobs that Tyson is bringing back to town. Our region, fortunately, knows we have an issue, and we have a lot of people working on that.
The Springdale Chamber of Commerce president says this sends a strong message to others that our area is a great place to live and it's a great place to work while raising your family.
Whether it's single family, whether it's multifamily, we're seeing a significant growth in multifamily in Northwest Arkansas and in Springdale to try to meet the needs of the 32 people that move to Northwest Arkansas on a daily basis.
In a statement from Tyson, quote, "The move will foster collaboration, enhance team member agility, and enable faster decision making." The NWA Council president says the move makes sense from a business perspective.
And for us, economically, those are a lot more people here, a lot more high-paying jobs, a lot more talented individuals.
The move is expected to happen in early 2023, and local leaders say it's time to welcome these new residents to Northwest Arkansas.
You're going to find people that are similar to you in some form or fashion. You know, about 60% of the people in Northwest Arkansas aren't from Arkansas. So this is a melting pot. It has been, growing more diverse each and every day, from people that live here and from people that are moving here.
Well, Tyson says expanding its world headquarters will be a multi-year project. More details are expected over the next several months. And Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt signed a bill into law that bans gender-affirming health care at OU Children's Hospital in Oklahoma City. The bill blocks funding to prevent gender transition services for minors. Medical students from OU protested the bill at the state capitol last week during the legislature's special session. Well, only a few more days to get registered to vote in the midterm elections. Here are some important days to keep in mind ahead of that. If you're not registered to vote, you have until October the 11th. Now, after that, early voting in the state begins on October 24th, which all leads up to Election Day on November 8th. Well, thank you for joining us here for the latest news and weather where you live. I'm Joe Ellison. We hope you have a great weekend.